You are strong, you are beautiful, you are loved, you belong, and I am so proud of you.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel where this is called Let's Discuss, and yeah, we just like to talk about anything that's related to mummy, lifestyle, family vlogger kind of area on YouTube, because it's what I know most about, it's what I know a lot about over on this YouTube space. So I apologise for my extremely floofy hair at the back. I forgot to brush it when I got out the shower last night, and now it's completely untamable, which was completely my fault. I just sort of collapsed into bed. It's just the way that it's going, and I've also got cat hair everywhere, but what really changes, hey? Okay, so today we're going to be talking about, now I've heard this name, I've heard their name being mentioned so many times, and is it my English accent? I cannot pronounce it. In my mind, it's DOUGHERTY, or Dougherty. It kind of sounds a bit Irish, but the way that she says it, I'm literally going to play it to you right now.
Hi everyone, it's Alicia with the DOUGHERTY Dozen.
DOUGHERTY? That I'm not even going to bother. Basically, this YouTube channel, right, I've been watching them for the past, I'd say about 3 weeks now. I'd never even heard of them up until 3 weeks ago, and I generally like talking about people that I know a lot about until I started, well, A, I was being messaged to talk about them. B, they all of a sudden came out of nowhere and just attacked my senses, and now all of a sudden I seem to know a lot about them. It's one of those things where these people, they've obviously been around for a little while, or not really, but kind of. They've been around on like TikTok and things, but then recently they've just absolutely blown up, and I cannot pronounce the very first name. DOUGHERTY. This is a large family, like a really large family. They were a dozen, so they were 12. They've recently taken in 2 new kids. They are a family. Alicia is the mum, and basically she has taken in she's taken in quite a few kids. So their children are their children, of course, whether or not they're biologically related to them or not. So there's 14 including the parents. So there was originally 10 kids. I'm not quite sure who is biologically related and who isn't. Like I said, I don't think it really matters. For a little while was thinking that it was 14 kids, and it's not. It's 12 children including the 2 adults, but that is where my confusion started setting in, me and my bad maths brain. But no, there are 12 kids now, whereas there used to be 10. I say this right now because I know that the problem is with a lot of these family channels, and the problem is with channels which that can have quite controversial things surrounding them. For instance, this woman is obviously amazing, and she's obviously taken in a lot of children. She obviously has a very, very big heart to take in kids with, even as she says, has extensive trauma, has disabilities, has different psychological and physical issues due to their upbringing, or a plethora of other things. So it's extremely hard to actually talk about some of these families, because on one hand they appear to be doing something very, very nice. I feel like this family have all of these children, and they're doing a really great thing by bringing in kids and caring and giving them a home and giving them a better life than what they would have if they'd have stayed in the system. However, it's come at a cost of exploiting them. After looking at their channel for a few weeks, I was at first a bit, obviously if I see any family channel, I don't watch family channels, I disagree with them. Mummy vloggers, to a certain extent, yeah, I can deal with a mummy vlogger. I watch some mummy vloggers. I think as long as you're not bringing your kids into it too much, then that's fine. Content should not be focused around your children. I relate to that. I'm a mum of 2. Family channels, on the other hand, are just too much. I really don't like them. Like I say, it's a really difficult one to touch upon, because on the one hand they appear to be doing something very, very nice, but on the other side of it, I can't help but feel that they are monetizing and cashing in on extremely personal details about their children, some of which are adopted or have been in the system. What I see on YouTube, there's not a great deal of commentary done on these guys, because like talking about the Sicconi Jolies, or like talking about some of these more controversial topics, it's extremely divisive, and either people will say no, stop hazing because they're being given a better quality of life now, or you'll have people who are saying no because they're cashing in on this. And there's different reasons as to why. I kind of feel like it's the latter. Like I said, this mum who she has a TikTok. She has a TikTok, she has Instagram, and she also does YouTube, and she is live. I think she's literally live like once a day. She'll like put like the camera in like the middle of the table whilst the kids are all moving around, and she'll half the time not really even be talking. She'll just be like filming their kids eating their food and making their food. Videos I did actually quite like that she does is on her YouTube channel. I can't stand family vloggers TikToks because it's just full, and this is no exception. It's full of kids challenges. Videos of hers that I really found any of interest to watch were her morning routines, where she was literally like some sort of a like trooper, like she was in the Marines or something. She was just like extremely efficiently sorting out all of these kids' lunchboxes, which hats off to you. I can just about cope with the two I've got. Try and not look too much into the children. I try and look into the parents. Alicia was a teacher from what I've seen. She was a teacher, and her partner, who I'm not quite sure what his name is, he is still a teacher for special ed, and he does some coaching as well in the meantime. So that is all good. They did actually recently do, which I think it got taken down and then re-uploaded, their whole finance shabacle, and then it turns out that they're basically an amount of money a month, and their whole outgoings equal, what was it, $26,000 a month just in all their outgoings. They make a lot of money from their TikTok, from their YouTube. They get a lot of ads, that kind of thing. I think she started off with good intentions and the fact that she was just documenting what her life was sort of like, but then obviously we find this as family vloggers, as the money comes rolling in, so does the need to expose your children even more. And I found that particularly prevalent when she did a TikTok where she was saying she wasn't quite sure if she was going to take in 2 new kids. They're teenagers, wasn't quite sure if she was going to take them in because her hands were already quite full.
A call this morning about taking a 12-year-old and 13-year-old sibling group, a boy and girl, and the caseworker needed to come over in an hour, and we will know more on Monday. We'll keep you posted. You are strong, you are beautiful, you are loved, you belong, and I am so proud of you.
And then honestly, within a day of having them, or even on that same day, she was trying to pose them for family pictures. She was getting them online. She was showing their faces and all of this kind of stuff. And I just think that I know nothing about the foster care system. I've never been in it. My kids are not from foster care. I don't have any experience with it. But if I were that child, you've gone through a really traumatic thing. Why are you then shoving their faces onto your platform? I just thought it was really quite distasteful. I think that she has good intentions in the fact that she just wants to like care and bring in kids and look after them. That's all lovely, but she then goes on to try and just shove them into the spotlight as soon as she's got them there and already getting them to do challenges and things. And there were people in her comment section saying, can we please see where the kids are going to be sleeping and all of this kind of stuff. And I just think that's so, these kids have come from such a rough upbringing. I would feel really exposed. I was under the impression, because it's like that in the UK, where a lot of families will choose not to even have schools take pictures of them and things because they don't want to run the risk of it, But on the flip side of it, they also allow the children of which they can see their biological parents. So I think that's nice. They try and incorporate them. Of course, there's always going to be a flip side, which I do try and accommodate on this channel. Through some points that I've made just by watching some of their content, and I'm sure I will continue finding out new things about them, but I just want to go across a few things that I found personally and see if it resonates with any of you guys. So then point number 1 is how much effort they actually put into their social medias. Now, I believe that her partner is still working. She quit her job to then become a full-time YouTuber. Did an interview quite recently with This Morning or something in America, and she said, we do this for foster and adoption awareness. But now she's quit her job or whatever, part-time, whatever it was. She's now full-time doing this, and she is so active on all of her social medias. Like, she is so active, and it just makes me question, with that and that, I struggle even putting out a video a day. I don't really do that, but whenever I do, the kids aren't with me right now, I would struggle so much trying to just keep a social media presence, even with the 2 I've got, let alone trying to do it with now 14 children, and I think she does have some sort of a help. I think the government also gives her some money per child, so she obviously is getting an income for each child. She's getting money. It's the way that it works here. You're given a certain amount for the kids that you decide to adopt, but I don't know too much about it because obviously I'm not from the States. But it just makes me wonder, just if you're putting so much effort I mean, she puts insane amounts of effort. She's always posting something, whether it be on YouTube, Instagram, or TikTok, or she's going live. And it just makes me question, you've got so many children. Like, I don't know how she does that. I have no idea how she does that. How are you able to then juggle it all? I don't really understand. Another point is that she overshares. Now, I found this out by watching, I think it was like a morning routine, and she was like packing all the lunches, and she all of a sudden just got out all of these cups with different medication, and she just started talking about the kids' medication and putting the pills in the cups, and I just think that's just a bit too far. And I don't know if she's deleted it or not, but she did do a TikTok, I think it was a TikTok, where she was explaining about specifically one of her children's mental disabilities and all of this kind of stuff, like really private information. And I know that people like Aaron Williams, for instance, has been slammed. Was it Aaron Williams or Tara? It was one of them, got completely annihilated because they did that. But for some bizarre reason, it's okay for her to do it. I just don't really see the correlation. I don't think you should be sharing anything to do with your kids' mental health issues, physical issues, any doctor's trips, anything that is prescribed to them. I just think it's so icky. Like, if you want to share that own personal information, do it. And what makes it more sinister is the fact that some of these kids have come from a place that is extremely unforgiving, is extremely horrible, and they must have felt extremely unloved. And now they're coming to somewhere who not only has a camera in front of their face all the time, but is also sharing where they sleep and what medication they take and talking about all of their issues. And some of those kids are teenagers, and teenagers are extremely mean and very unforgiving at times. And I just don't see the point of sharing that much personal information about your kids online. What I don't really understand is that Alicia spends a lot of her time going on about how her kids have all of these behavioural issues and things like that, and all of these diagnoses and all of these different problems. But then she'll then put them in family challenge videos where maybe some of them are quite delayed, I think, is what I've gathered. Like developmentally, they're quite stunted. I'm not going to get into it because obviously I'm not a specialist in that area, but then what I don't understand is that you're then putting them into challenge videos, and not only are they not at the age to consent, but they may not, they're even more unlikely to be able to understand what is going on or why it's happening. And a lot of these kids won't be able to make the correlation between what she's doing and it being put online, especially if they're stunted in their development or they have behavioural issues. And that to me does feel quite exploitative. It does, it does, and I'm really sorry if it comes across as mean, but I just find it a bit icky. Yeah, I just find it a bit hard to get my head around the concept of their channel and the fact that they do all of these challenge videos and they have these different things and they're getting them to dress up in different ways. And it's like some of these kids come from very traumatic backgrounds, or they may have a lesser understanding of what is actually happening, and you're sort of using that to your own advantage, it almost feels like, and it feels a little bit strange. The other point is that, like I was saying before, they were a family of 12 and now they're a family of 14. They have been re-uploaded, but I think it got taken down at one point, where literally as soon as they got the kids, they then showed their faces, and they were very quick to say, oh look, here you go. And they did this Walmart haul, which you can still see on TikTok, I think, of them saying, you know, they couldn't leave the kids alone. They were videoing, she was videoing the back of them and saying, we're going to Walmart because this is what we do when we get new kids, and we get them to pick out whatever they want. And the kids, obviously you can't see their faces, but it was a very displaying thing. It wasn't something you could then do in private. And some people may argue, yeah, but Like, how are they supposed to do it in private? They're a family vlogging channel, and this is just my whole entire point. This stuff just shouldn't be online anyway. Their very first couple of days of being in your family, of even knowing who you are, for you to then just whip out your camera and be like, hi, I'm just gonna video the back of you going into Walmart and putting stuff into a shopping cart. It feels really inauthentic, and it feels wrong. It really does feel wrong. And I'm sure there's going to be loads of people that will turn around and say, yeah, well, she's doing a great thing because she's helping all these children. And it's just like, just because she's doing one thing, which is a huge thing, don't get me wrong, which is lovely. I've said this throughout this whole thing. Take my hat off to her. Just because she's doing one thing that is great doesn't mean that everything else that she's doing that follows cannot be questioned. You've got to be able to differentiate the two. You've got to be able to go, yes, what she's doing is lovely, but I can't help but notice she is exploiting her kids. I think she started off with good intentions, saying, well, yes, I'm wanting to raise awareness, but surely she could raise awareness by just showing what she is doing as a mum. That is plenty. You then don't need to bring in your child's medication, all of this kind of stuff. It just feels really strange. Don't even get me started on the I don't even know if it's even me like worth mentioning, because it kind of feels a bit nitpicky. But the amount that they spend on their shopping every single week is mind-boggling. And the thing is that it's really quite hard for me to, I mean, a part of me just goes, why are you spending $1,300 on shopping every single week? There we go. But also, I just want to point out, like, I already knew this anyway, I don't even know why I didn't bother including this, but her kids, I think quite a few of them have sensory issues. The reason why she said that she has a problem with like feeding some of them, like you had to feed them like the same things and all this kind of stuff. Like, I do understand that, so don't come for me saying like, well, her kids have issues with that kind of stuff. I don't, because I know that I'm just giving my unwanted opinion, that's all. The grand scheme of things, like that could be seen as quite nitpicky, when my overriding message is the fact that she shouldn't be adopting children and then exploiting them on camera, which is just sort of how I feel about it. Like I was saying, just because you're doing something great, well, I'm going to draw reference to them again because we love a good bit of Coney Jolie over here. If you know who they are, then watch any of my other videos on them. But I draw reference to them again. They're trying to raise awareness to the trans community, but they're doing an awful job at it, but they're actually just exploiting their children. Similarly, this family are trying to raise awareness with the foster and adoption system, but instead they're actually exploiting their children in the process. They're very similar things, and not many people will make commentary on it because they will get hounded with people saying, but they have a really nice life, but you don't know anything about the adoption system, but they're coming from traumatic backgrounds. And it's like, that is all true, but if no one can ever comment on things that are slightly controversial, we've got a real issue, because it's usually the things that are slightly controversial that do have problems that run alongside it. And I feel like this family has never really been spoken about, and it's because they've sort of just blown up out of nowhere. Like I say, I've been watching them for about 2.5, 3 weeks. I've been keeping tabs of them because I don't just all of a sudden like to go, wow, okay, I'm going to talk about these new people. So I have been following them, but they are very reminiscent of a lot of other family vloggers. They've got a taste of money and they're now just exploiting their kids on camera. But unfortunately, they keep on adopting more children to then exploit on camera, and it just feels a little bit icky. But I would absolutely love to hear your thoughts on this, because like many other videos, I feel like I'm just alone, and then I get flooded with, I feel the same as well, and I don't feel as alone anymore. A wonderful day wherever you are in this world. Please remember to like, comment and subscribe, and I will catch up with you guys in the next video.